what's up? This is Reed. I'm going to address a problem that's been in the smart home for the longest time. I even have the issue right here in my office. My fan is smart, so I can control it with my phone, unless someone turns off the light switch. Well, this video changes that. This solution makes it easy for family members, and it keeps your automations running smoothly because your light or fan doesn't lose power. I'm going to do this with smart buttons and switches. I'll start off with more basic options and work my way up to more elegant ones to help you find the best solution for you. Starting off first with buttons is the Echo button. It connects to Echo devices using Bluetooth and can trigger an Amazon routine, so they could control your smart light bulbs and smart fans with a button press. However, these things have been unavailable for the longest time on Amazon, and who knows if they'll ever be available again. Also, they're very bulky and ugly. They look like they're ready to launch a rocket, not turn on lights, so I'm gonna just toss this option out. Which leads me to the next option of Flic. It's a much smaller button and can also control your smart lights. There are a few different smart lights that connect natively to Flic, like LifeX and Hue. If you have some smart lights that aren't directly compatible, you could also use IFT. There are a couple of things you need to know about Flic though. First, you need to get their starter pack, which includes their little gateway. The gateway connects to your router using Wi-Fi, so you don't have to use Ethernet. It also allows you to control LifeX lights locally, so it's much faster. The other thing to know is the price. It's $160 for the starter pack with 3 buttons, which seems a little high to me. There are other things you can do with Flic, but I feel like the main thing I would use it for is to control lights. One way to set it up is a single press turns on the lights, double press changes the colors, and holding it down turns off the lights. Wi-Fi buttons don't really exist for smart lights, so Flic does stand out. And if you're okay with their gateway and you don't want a hub like SmartThings, then Flic might be a good option for you. There's a less expensive button with some extra functionality. That's the SmartThings Button. These use Zigbee and you'll need the SmartThings hub. However, the button is only $13 on Amazon right now, so even with the hub, it's still less expensive than Flic. I couldn't find a good place to put the button, but I finally found a great solution. Get a light switch cover like the one I linked below and super glue some magnets on the inside. Since the SmartThings button has a magnet on the back, it sticks to it firmly. Now the light switch doesn't get accidentally turned off, and you have the option to move the button if you want. I'm still working on the wife approval factor since this thing is a little bulky. Just like the Flic button, you can set the single, double, and hold functionality. I have it set to turn the lights on with a single press, and a double press toggles my ceiling fan on and off. I'm using Bond with RF to control my fan, which is compatible with SmartThings. Since I use SmartThings, I lean towards this option for a smart button, but I think smart light switches have better solutions, which I'll show you now. Smart switches are a little more elegant and can still control your smart light bulbs. The first switch I want to show you is by GoControl. It's a battery-powered Z-Wave switch that covers your existing toggle or paddle light switch. This is great if you don't want to deal with wires. It prevents light switches from being turned off and installs in a matter of minutes. It's only $15, which isn't too bad. If you want to connect it with SmartThings, you'll need to add a custom device handler. This is pretty easy to add, and I'll link how to do it down in the description. You can set what pressing and holding the buttons will do, so any light that's connected to SmartThings can be controlled by the GoControl using the Smart Lighting app in SmartThings. It's still a little bulky, so I personally would pay more for a better solution. Next, I want to very quickly touch on the Hue switch. If you already have Hue lights, you probably already know about this. For those of you who are deciding on smart lights, this is a huge benefit for using Hue. This doesn't replace your wall switch, but it's easy to use even if it's right next to it. I use the Hue switch every single day and it's very convenient. Along that same thread, I also wanted to touch on Wiz bulbs. They can be controlled with a remote, which is kind of unique. I think this could be a user-friendly solution for some people. The remote uses RF, so it can be pointed in any direction and it's very quick to change the lights. Wiz bulbs are inexpensive at Home Depot, but just be aware that even though Philips owns them, they don't work with the Hue hub. I'll talk more about Wiz bulbs in a smart light comparison video in the future. Now I want to go over what I think is the best solution. This smart switch lets you turn off the lights with a physical switch, and it does not kill the power to your smart bulbs. This is very cool, and after using it, I'm kicking myself for not adding it to my house earlier. I'm using an Inovelli Red Switch for this, and you could also use a Zooz switch for this as well. For Inovelli, there are two kinds of switches you need to know about: black and red. The black version won't allow you to control the smart lights, but the red one will, so make sure to get the red version since they're pretty similar in price. You can connect this right to SmartThings, but to get the extra functionality of disabling the local control and controlling the smart lights, you'll need to add an extra device handler. This is very easy, and I'll link the steps on how to do it in the description. After adding the device handler, you change the device type, and then you'll see all the settings. I disabled the local control, and then headed over to the Smart Lighting app in SmartThings. It's similar to how I set it up with the GoControl, but you have even more options. The first 6 buttons are how many times you hit the light switch. Pressed is up and held is down. It's not very intuitive, but it works well, so I'm not going to complain. Or did I just complain right now? I don't know. Here's how I have mine set up. With all the button press options available, you won't feel limited. There's also a lot more you can do with the light switch that I'm not going to get into in this video. Like the LED light can be set to different notifications, and the switch can measure energy usage. The price is on the higher end of Z-Wave smart light switches, but I think it's worth it with the extra functionality. If you have a larger budget, the Brilliant Smart Light Switch can also do this. It's much more user-friendly to override what the physical switches control. You can set it to control LifeX, Hue, TP-Link, or lights connected with SmartThings, while always keeping power to the light. Brilliant can also do way more than just control the lights, which I go over in my review that you can check out if you want. As you can see, there are some really good solutions available, but I feel like this space could have a lot more options. Like, why doesn't Wiz make a smart button that you can press to trigger an Amazon routine? Instead, you have people 3D printing switch contraptions for the Wiz contact sensor. Also, why are there not inexpensive Wi-Fi light switches that you can disable local control and instead control smart light bulbs? Seems like that should exist, and if it does, please let me know. I'll be comparing lots of smart light switches soon, so make sure to subscribe to not miss videos like that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. This new light switch is really easy to use. 1 press will turn on all the lights, 3 presses will turn on a scene, 5 presses will turn on just these light strips.
Slow down, I have to write this down.
No, don't worry. You can just reference this manual I made for our entire house.